Welcome to A Slob Comes Clean, the podcast. I am Danny K. White. I share my personal deslobification process. As I figure out ways to keep my own home under control, I share the truth about cleaning and organizing strategies that actually work in real life for real people, people who don't love cleaning and organizing. Thanks for joining me today. This is podcast number 433, and I am going to call it 5-minute pickup or declutter. Yes. Like that's all part of it is the saying yes. Like it's 5-minute pickup or declutter ? Yes. I mean, that's all you need to know, right? But I think you're going to enjoy this session that I am doing with one of my Kindred Spirits on Patreon. If you would like to know more about being a Kindred Spirit, about being a patron of the show, go to patreon.com/aslobcomesclean. I think you're going to love this conversation. Here we go. Liz, tell me about yourself. We just got on the call, and so I want to hear about you and what's your unique life situation.
Okay. So my husband and I are business owners. We own a small but busy HVAC company in Louisiana, central Louisiana.
HVAC is very important.
Yes.
In Louisiana.
Yes. Especially here in the summertime.
Yes.
I also homeschool, and my son, he's currently still in preschool, going to daycare, preschool at daycare. But he's home with me today. I'm trying to get him used to being home with us because he's going to be in kindergarten with us next year. So I'm kind of juggling the homeschooling with the business because we've been doing this we're going on 8 years doing this business, and I've been the everything except for my husband does the field work, and we've got employees that we manage and everything, but we're to the point where I can't do it anymore with them. Yeah. Like I can't balance everything, but I'm still very much involved. I just hired somebody to take my place at the office. My daughter's been going with me to the office every day. We've been doing schoolwork kind of at the office or at home, wherever we can figure it out. But I'm working on moving everything to my new office manager, but it's a slow process. And I have for the past couple of years, I've been feeling like my head's just been spinning, trying to keep up with home, balancing it all out. So I guess I'm just, that's kind of where I am right now in my unique situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've got the daughter who's already school age and then a son who'll be school age soon.
Yes.
Are there others? Just the two?
Well, we've got my two older stepsons, but they don't live with us. Okay. They're grown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we have a dog. We just got a dog. He's
Yay.
That's a new element that we just added. So
what kind of dog?
He's a little Yorkie. He's about 3 or 4 months old now. And he's the sweetest little thing, but we're still trying to potty train him and keep him out of certain areas of the house. And so far it's not been too bad, but it is a challenge.
Oh yeah. Those puppy years are definitely interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what is going well for you.
So I've found that if I stay on top of it, dishes, doing like loading the dishwasher at night and unloading them in the morning, my challenge is just doing it and just if I do it, it really makes everything run better. And I am getting better at reminding myself to do it and just pushing through, even if I'm tired. And then my daughter, she's starting to learn to do it as well. She's 9. So she's starting to help me with the dishes in the evening. So I feel like that's probably the one thing that I feel like is the most beneficial to me right now, or the thing that I have the best grip on. And then laundry is getting better. I still struggle with it mainly because I'm not here on a regular, like my routine is just all over the place. My schedule, Fridays are supposed to be my laundry day. As you can see, my bed has been stripped. So we're washing sheets. But I do usually manage to get the laundry washed on Fridays, but putting it away is usually the difficult thing.
Yeah.
Getting it all put away because I'm interrupted so much. I have to go back and forth between the house and the office a lot, and I'm always on the phone with somebody trying to put out a fire or with our business. And those are two of the things that I've been trying to focus on the most, and I feel like they help. It is helpful if I can get those two things done.
Yeah. Are you folding right out of the dryer and putting away?
No, I'm not.
Have you tried?
I do try sometimes with the towels, and if I have something that's very, I'm afraid to let it get wrinkled, like a dress or something, I'll hang that up real fast. But no, I guess I'm just in my brain, I'm just like throwing it all in a basket, and then I do.
I totally get it, because I resisted it for so long, and I had so many reasons why I didn't want to do that. But it is strangely magical. Like, it's not fun magical, like
Right.
not like happy magic. It's just, but it is like, and it's the same concept as the take it there now. It's like the going ahead. And I thought, because I get what you're saying, because you are so busy, there's so many distractions that it feels like I have to get the next load in as quickly as possible. And that's just going to slow that down. But that, and I know we're on your wins at this point, and you are experiencing success with that. I would just say, for experimentation, say, I'm just going to try it to see if it does or doesn't work for me. Like, as opposed to, oh, I don't want to do that. It can't be what Dana said. Just like, just say, see, maybe it doesn't.
Right.
But like, maybe give it a shot. Like, just, even if it's just one day, say, for this day, I'm going to see, can I actually have laundry day and do this? Even if it did take longer, which strangely it doesn't end up taking longer, but even if it did make laundry day go a day and a half, there might still be value in it for you.
Right. Well,
try that.
I can already tell you that it would save time when we're looking for clothes.
Yeah.
Because my daughter, every morning, she's like, Mama, I don't have anything to wear in my closet. So I'm like, okay, either she or I is like digging through the basket trying to find something for her to wear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even that, now that you're telling me, you're wording it that way, it's like, I think that would actually help with getting my kids their clothes put away, at least, so that the next morning they have clothes to wear and it's easy for them.
Yeah. It is. It's the same thing as the take it there now. It feels like it's going to take longer, but because it actually completes the whole thing and doesn't leave something, in the baskets, whatever, weighing on you as, oh, I never did finish. It strangely means that it actually takes less time. And it's one of those weird things.
It does make sense because I'm staring at two big baskets full of laundry right now. So I wouldn't have to see those all the time. They'd be empty.
Yeah.
And I might be able to get rid of one or two of them.
Yeah. So. It's a weird feeling in the beginning, because I was so used to seeing the piles of clean laundry that it also affected the way my whole house felt to not have the piles of laundry, Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Just try it. Just experimentation,
with
zero commitment, and be like, maybe this won't work for me, but I'm just going to try it one day and see if it makes a big enough. Now it makes a big enough impact for me that it drives me to do it, because it's like, oh, if I will do this, oh, wow, there's a huge difference in how, things play out in the house.
Okay.
What's something that you wanted to talk about?
So the 3 things that I had put, it's a hard one. It's hard to decide which ones are the most important things, but my daughter with her room, and now my son too, I think I kind of want to put him in on that as well. The thing is with my daughter especially is that she's very attached to her stuff. Mm-hmm. And I have done, we have decluttered her room once or twice over the past couple of years. And I had her put things in a bin. that and I told her, okay, we're going to put these in a bin and we're going to wait and see if you need them or if you miss them at all. So we went about 6 months and she didn't ask. She might have missed one toy out of that bin that she remembered putting in there, and we got it back out. But we waited about 6 months and then I donated it, and she hasn't thought about any of that since. And I'm thinking about doing that again with my son. But the problem is that there's still so much stuff that she's just not wanting to get rid of, that she wants to hold on to. She's very, very emotionally attached to her stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess I would say that she probably we probably could do the container concept with her in her room, and everything would probably fit. So we probably could do some more decluttering, but the main issue is just coming up with a routine for her to put her stuff away, and something that's not going to drive me nuts, not.
So the routine is the 5-minute pickup.
Okay.
Like that's the routine for maintaining, but decluttering first and then reminding throughout the process of decluttering using the 5-step method. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you have the printable or not, but aslobcomesclean.com/5 is where you can get that printable when you have the newsletter. But okay. That printable, it having it kind of as a thing outside of the two of you, so that it's not mom coming in and saying, do this, but instead saying, here's the step on this piece of paper. And she's 9, so she can read. And, you're like, okay, so the first step is trash, and going through that, because the thing is, those first 3 steps of the process that are non-emotional and decision free, get out all of the stuff, get out a significant amount of stuff that isn't emotional, that isn't, something that she's attached to. Those things leave, which it feels like, oh, she's going to be emotional about everything, but she won't. You know what I mean? Like, you're letting her decide, is there any trash in here? What here does have an established home? Let's get that put away. And, is there anything that's a dead donation? And she might only have one thing or something that she does that, but it still kind of gets her ready to be at the point where you do the decluttering questions and then embrace the reality of the space. So where would you look for this first? And it's in her room. Well, I would look for it in that drawer over there. Okay. Well, with everything that we go take there now, it becomes like, okay, well, there's no room here. So what can we get rid of so we don't make this drawer any worse, so that we'll have a place to put this in? And it's a slow process, but the whole time be mentioning as you're decluttering, because, our goal here is to get this to the point where you can get everything put away in 5 minutes. That's what we're working toward. So it's like the routine is also the goal, and the way to get there is decluttering.
So would you say to declutter for 5 minutes a day, to do that as the 5-minute pickup until we get to that point? Or would you say doing a big declutter first?
I would say yes to all of that. So, that's the beauty of the 5-minute pickup is it is, you can do a 5-minute pickup the minute we're done with this call, and there's value in it, right? Like right. Picking things up and putting it away. There's value in it in that it makes it a little bit better. There's also value in it that, wow, 5 minutes didn't get it all done. Yeah, we got to declutter. Right. So it's like demonstration of the fact that we have too much stuff. And so you go ahead and start 5-minute pickups now. And then when you have a moment to declutter, knowing that you're going to use the no mess process, which means that you can declutter for 20 minutes or you can declutter for 5 hours or whatever. It doesn't have to be, because you're not going to pull everything out of the room, right? Like, we're not going to make this huge mess. We're just going to go in and follow the 5 steps in order so that we don't make a bigger mess. It's like, okay, we've been doing 5-minute pickups every day for a week. There's an actual impact in here. It's getting better. She's getting a better understanding of what she's dealing with. And now let's go in and say, okay, we're going to declutter, because that's going to make our 5-minute pickups easier. Or if you have time today to declutter, go ahead and just start decluttering. Let's go in and declutter and be mentioning the 5-minute pickup. So it's not an either or one has to be before the other. There's always a value in a 5-minute pickup. There's always value in decluttering. So whatever you're able to do today, great.
Okay.
And a 5-minute pickup can be, if the 5-minute pickup is this overwhelming thing, it's like, well, let's set the timer for 5 minutes, and here's a Walmart sack for you to put trash in. And, we'll start out, if that's all we do for 5 minutes, great. That's going to be valuable in this
Yeah.
process.
I don't know why I don't remember the 5-minute pickup. It's like it just doesn't ever click in my brain. I hear it on the podcast a lot. I read it on the Facebook page, and I've listened to your book about decluttering, but for some reason it never comes to mind when I'm actually doing my day-to-day stuff. So I need to maybe post a sign or something to remind myself to do that, because I don't think about it.
The best way for me to remember to do it is to have done it and seen the power of it. You know what I mean? Like, so like today, when you're done with this call, you could literally go in and do a 5-minute pickup.
Yeah.
And take that before and after picture. Not that you have to show it to anybody other than yourself as oh, wow, that's what we did in 5 minutes of picking up trash and then putting easy stuff away. Like literally, it's shocking what can happen in 5 minutes. And just having that there to flip back and forth. I'm doing this with my finger because it's me swiping back and forth, right? Between this is what it looked like 5 minutes ago. This is what it looks like now. Show that to your daughter.
Oh, she would love that.
Yeah, like look at the difference we just made in 5 minutes. That is the best way for me to remember to do 5-minute pickups in the future, is having experienced their power. So yeah, like even if that's all you do today after this call, and fold your laundry and put it away immediately, but but like there's so much power in it, right? And so but I get it. Like I get what you're saying, and I think sometimes it feels like that's too easy, or we're not there yet. But that's the thing about, with dishes and laundry, there's catch up before you get into the routine.
Yeah.
The 5-minute pickup has value now.
I think that's exactly part of it, because I feel like I need to declutter first before I get to that point. I think that actually has crossed my mind before, what you just said about feeling like I need to get to that point before I'm ready to. And I'm thinking about not just her room, but everything, other areas in the house as well. Yeah. So
no, that 5-minute pickup, it has value on so many different layers. It has value to maintain decluttering. It has value to show you what needs to be decluttered. It has value to start decluttering, in a space that is completely overwhelming. It just, there's lots and lots of different layers of value. And there's never a situation that warrants waiting on a 5-minute pickup.
Got it.
It can be used at any time in the process.
Got it. That makes sense.
What's the next thing you want to talk about?
Okay. So meal planning, now that I'm trying to focus more on being home, we have spent so much money on eating out, because with me being back and forth between the office and the house, just cooking dinner has been such a difficult task. And even like lunches and breakfast, even just, we're always on the run constantly. I just feel like I'm constantly go, go, go. And this morning we could have eaten at home, but I was just so like, yesterday was the worst day. I was so tired, and I woke up late this morning. And even though I made it a plan not to go to work today and stay home, I still, when I woke up, I still felt like I was behind already, because I was late getting up out of bed, later than I'd like to be. And so we just went and ran through the drive-thru and grabbed something for breakfast and brought it home. And I just feel like I just need a plan. I need something to help me get on track with that. And since I'm home more often, now I feel like, okay, I kind of forgot how to do it almost, because there was a time where I didn't have the kids. I was home more often before we started our business, and it was different. but that's been years and years ago. And I feel like I'm just kind of forgotten and can't get back into that routine of getting the meals going every night.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying. And I think too, it's kind of like, well, that worked for me before, but it was pre-kids, pre-business when I was able to like put a lot of time and energy into it that I now
right.
don't feel like I have that same time and energy. So the best way that I have found, and this is what we live by, is pre-cooking your proteins. And not even pre-cooking, but like do you eat any meals with ground beef in them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you ever pre-cook your ground beef?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't, I haven't done it in a while. As a matter of fact, my husband just went this past hunt deer season and he brought home a bunch of ground deer meat. I hate deer meat, cannot stand it. But I cook it for him and
Uh-huh.
the kids don't know the difference. So, I do have a bunch of ground deer meat in the freezer, but,
So what
I have done ground meat before. Yes.
okay.
It's been a
So what
while.
yeah, but what I would do, like let's say if you are gonna, go with the kind that you like and you get it from the store and instead of, where maybe it would be a 1 pound package for one meal, instead get a 2 pound package or a 4 pound package. And even if you just say, I'm overwhelmed to get started, so I'm just going to get the 2 pound where we would normally eat a one, cook them both at the same time. It literally doesn't take any extra time. And then let the half of it cool, put it in a Ziploc bag after it's cool, and put it in the freezer. And then the next time you've got that to make the same type, anything that has liquid in it, like spaghetti sauce, chili, anything with like a sauce, basically.
Okay.
Beef stroganoff, something like, I mean, I'll make beef stroganoff with ground beef. I know some people are probably like, that's not beef stroganoff. I'm like, it is, whatever. um, but anything like that you like that has liquid in it, you just make the sauce and put the ground beef already frozen into that sauce and let it thaw within the sauce as opposed to
Okay.
thawing in the microwave or something, because that's when you end up recooking it and it tastes disgusting, right? So
Right.
you don't want to recook it. You just put it in with the liquid sauce or a stew or something that you might put ground beef in, anything like that. And every time you do that, you go, oh, wow. Like this is what happened with me. I just accidentally cooked extra one time, put it in the freezer. And then when I used that, I went, well, that made my life easier. And so then the next time I was like, well, instead of 2 pounds, I'm going to get 5 pounds this time, and then I kind of went, and it's funny because there was a time period in my life where I would do as much as I could possibly do. I would do like 15 pounds at once. Well, we're kind of, we've got two of the boys are out of the house at this point. I've just got my daughter and my husband and I. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm back down to 5 to 6 pounds. I'll just get the one bigger package at Costco. But doing that, and we'll do the same thing with chicken. Do y'all eat chicken?
Mhm.
Do you eat
Yes.
anything that has like chicken cubed or smaller pieces of chicken in it, like casseroles or soups or anything like that?
I have done that before. I've done
Okay.
a lot of times I'll cook we like the thighs, the boneless thighs. So a lot of times I'll cook the boneless thighs and they're good in salads and
Yes.
I usually put it in the refrigerator, but I don't think about putting it in the freezer like
Yeah.
for next week, but I usually put it in the freezer. The problem I've been coming across is I'll put leftovers in the refrigerator for the tomorrow night and then we don't eat it because we're not in the mood for it. So it goes bad or we forget it's in there. But, I know that, you can do a lot with chicken. So I probably could do that.
Yeah. Putting it in the freezer, and again, anything that has a liquid sauce, that's the ideal thing for that chicken that's been in the freezer already cooked, as opposed
Okay.
to, you know,
We do enchiladas sometimes with it. Chicken
oh yeah,
enchiladas. Yeah.
that's perfect. So what I do lately, this is kind of my newest routine, instead of pre-cooking chicken and what I just get the biggest package of, I do the chicken tenderloins, but or chicken tenders, whatever they're called. You would do, if you like the chicken thighs, and I stick it in the crock pot and salt and pepper it really well. And then, just let it cook for usually 3 to 4 hours on high or 4 to 6 hours on low. And then we have that the first night. And I don't know if do you watch my YouTube?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
So I listen to your podcast mostly, but
so this is one of the videos that YouTube was like, you're not a cooking channel. We're not going to show this to anybody. So like it has really low views, but anyway,
that's not nice of them.
They're so rude. They did the same thing with my gardening thing. I was like, listen, people want to see my gardening stuff. And they're like, you're not a gardener. They didn't say it, but obviously they thought it,
That's not
you're
very
not
nice.
A
Who are they to tell you?
I know. We're not going to show this to anybody. Anyway, so I don't know if you watched this one, but I'll do chicken breast in the crock pot and then, just use a fork to kind of stir it around and it breaks it apart. And then we do mashed potato bowls. So we'll have like mashed potatoes, which are instant mashed potatoes. I will make real mashed potatoes for holidays, but on a regular day, instant mashed potatoes are way too easy. So it's like instant mashed potatoes with, the chicken and its own juices from the crock pot on that. And then we'll put I'll do a gravy mix and then like corn on top of that, so, and we all love it, but then it gives me the chicken to use either to freeze it or whatever. So it's kind of like, because you're busy,
you're doing extra.
Yeah, you're in it, but it doesn't actually equate to any more work than it would be anyway. So I think, instead of thinking I've got to totally change my life, say, okay, how could I make the most out of when I do cook? So what are some of the things that
makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense because in my mind, I'm thinking freezer meals, going to spend like all day long doing a bunch of cooking and freezing.
Yes.
So,
and that is probably not going to ever happen.
I've done it once or twice, and I was so tired at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It was horrible. But I had food for a couple of weeks, but then it was just like I never did it again because it was just so much work.
What are some meals that you do make regularly?
So we make spaghetti often. My husband likes it. And if I make anything besides ground meat in it, he doesn't like it. So that's probably a good one. I do like to make shepherd's pie with ground meat.
Tacos.
Chili. We make taco salad, chili. We make gumbo a lot of times with the chicken. Okay. So, and I have frozen that. You can
gumbo would be absolutely perfect to use the pre-cooked chicken.
Yes.
So you could do the mashed potato bowls or rice bowls or whatever you wanted to do, and save, do double what you would normally do. Freeze the pre-cooked stuff, and then put that in your gumbo.
Right. I probably need to expand my menu too, like looking into other recipes I think that's a big part of it too. Just, I get bored with the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
And then my husband, he's very picky. He won't eat a lot of things if he doesn't know what it is or if it's new to him. Yeah. And my kids are the same way. So
I have a very unfancy course called Make Dinner Happen. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't.
But if you will send me an email after this, I will,
okay.
Just you, the person that I'm talking to right now. Anyway, everybody else can go to aslobcomesclean.com/make dinner happen, all one word. So it's like a 2-week plan that uses pre-cooked chicken and pre-cooked ground beef, and it takes you through the actual cooking it on one day and then using it over the course of 2 weeks. The chicken and the beef. So, 14 different meals for that. And kind of just to get you used to, oh, okay, these are different things I can do with that. And I think I also use sausage in there at some point, but yeah, that will give you 2 weeks worth of meals. But the basics are the thing to do even before that is just to say, if I'm cooking ground beef, I might as well cook twice as much, or maybe I might as well cook 5 times as much and have that in my freezer so that because the value is that at some point you get to this point where you realize I can make spaghetti. Do you use jarred spaghetti sauce? Or
Yes.
do you make it okay.
Yeah.
Like I can literally make spaghetti in a quarter of the time that it would take me to run out and get fast food. And because I'm just literally putting the spaghetti sauce in the pot and adding completely frozen chunks of pre-cooked ground beef into that so that I'm not defrosting it. I'm just like, it's defrosting while it's warming in the thing. And so in the time that it takes me to boil the noodles, I have the dinner done. And so it's just knowing that you take away the big ideas. And then I still like to cook other things, but if I know that I can always do super easy meals, then on the days that I do have time and energy and desire, I can do something a little bit fancier.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. I know that having my kitchen clean, having my dishes put away and done makes a big difference too, because if I don't do that and I come home from work, I've got the kids running around and we got to fix supper, and I look and see everything piled up, all the dishes on, even if it's not a lot, it's usually not much. Yeah. But that just, all of my desire, if I had any at all, has gone out the window.
Right.
So I know that keeping my dishes done is a big part of that also.
Well, very much so. I mean, that's very, very true. Yeah. The other thing too is if you'll pre-cook the ground beef, you're only dealing with the mess of it one time. You're only having to drain grease and deal with all that and, one time.
That's true.
If you're, if it's every single night, the predicting the cleanup also.
That's true. Whenever I was growing up, my mom didn't work. She was a home stay-at-home mom. And so I'm used to that it's hard to get out of that mentality of needing to do everything in the kitchen, all of those steps every single night.
Right.
So it's definitely something that I have to be reminded of, that it's okay to cook in advance. It's okay to not have to do all of that extra stuff every time. And I think that it's just a mindset too, because whenever I'm thinking about having to cook supper, even if I have food in the freezer, it's still that anxiety comes out, Yeah. So it makes it difficult.
Changing those expectations. I know for my husband and I, before we got married, we talked about different things, and we, said, yeah, both of our moms cooked, they did not rely on fast food or whatever, like both of them cooked. But then after we got married, it hit me how differently they cooked. And it was because my mom was a stay-at-home mom and his mom worked full-time always, his whole life. So his mom would do cooking on the weekend, and then they would eat that as leftovers all week. She just planned it that way. She just made, a roast and some chicken and stuff like that on the weekend, and then did that. And so it was such a picture for me of, okay, you can eat at home, you can cook for your family, and it doesn't have to look a certain way.
Right.
It doesn't have to look like it did when my mom did it. Because my mom, I don't remember her doing any of the pre-cooking. So I kind of took from both of those and, made up my own way to do things.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I enjoy talking about stuff like that.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So this one's a little bit different. My dad has made a bunch of things for me over the years. And then also I have a pile of journals. First of all, let me back up. I have a pile of journals that I've kept since I was in ninth grade.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do with them. I know I probably do know what I need to do with them, but it's difficult because I've had them for so long and there's a lot of memories in there. I never read them. I never open them up. But if anybody else were to ever get a hold of them, I would die. You know, I don't want that. I don't want this very personal, private stuff. A lot of things that people outside of my brain do not need to see.
Yeah.
But I'm just like struggling so much with getting rid of it. And so I guess I kind of need a kick in the rear or something just to push me towards just going ahead and doing it. But then that's more of a motivational thing or an encouragement thing. But my dad, he made me some things that, like, for instance, he made a wooden box that has a glass viewing window, and inside of it is my graduation pictures from high school and my tassel, and not just the items inside, but the actual box that he made is sentimental. But it's like they're really not something that, it's my father, I love him, but they're not pretty to look at. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's not something I want to just put up on the wall for people to see. It's back from when I was a kid and over 20 years ago. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to.
Is it that one item or is it a bunch of items?
I've got that. He did the same thing with some pictures of my husband and us at our wedding. The same kind of thing with a wooden box and a picture or a window with the pictures inside of it.
And you don't like those items?
I don't. And
I don't know. I don't want to make you have to say it if you don't want to say it, but
I do. I mean, I love the idea, the thought of it. And then he also took a couple of our wedding pictures and he put them on a block of wood and made the picture look like it's sort of attached to the wood.
Yeah.
And it's I guess it's beautiful in a way, but it's not something that I want to display. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess I could just, but those I can put away and put them in a like a treasure box or something I can put away to have. But the ones with the glass, they would break if I put them somewhere like that. So
so the ones with the glass, you don't like, because my first thought was, well, can you make it something where we switch things out inside of this? I mean, is that possible? Like, okay, it hangs in this one spot, but then we switch it out and now it's got my daughter's preschool graduation thing, or now it's got my daughter's,
it's pretty much nailed shut. And it would break. Yeah. If you tried to open it up,
yeah. I mean, my rule for, not rule, because I don't have rules. Right. But I mean, like, my own personal strategy for that kind of stuff is to say, I'm going to take the picture out of it and keep the picture. And that is the thought, that's the real thing. And then just view it as a frame, a very cool frame that he put a lot of work into. But the reality of frames is that the styles change on frames. And so the value is really the picture. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to, somehow disassemble it, take the picture out and get rid of just the frame.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know it's hard.
It is hard. It's difficult because I don't see my dad very much. But I do see that it's probably necessary because I don't want to hang it on my wall. I mean, it's just not something that it sounds horrible. It really does.
It doesn't sound horrible because I only see one teeny tiny square of your stuff, but it's you have a beautiful headboard, you have an aesthetic, you have and it's okay to like a different look than you had when you were 18 and you graduated from high school. That's right. Perfectly fine. When I first saw the question on my notes, I was thinking, okay, he made a bunch of different stuff and my advice would have been keep one, but if these are things that are glass and therefore you're not going to hang it on your wall, but to just store it somewhere, it's going to get broken. It's like, okay, I'm going to appreciate the preservation of the pictures, and I'm going to take those pictures, and those pictures will remind me that my dad did this thing for me, but those pictures are now going to go in an album as
Got it.
opposed to,
Yeah.
this unwieldy thing that is only going to be, that's only stressful because I'm not going to put it on my wall because it doesn't match my aesthetic. But at the same time, it's glass and it's, going to get
Mm-hmm.
broken.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got it.
That's hard though.
It is. And it's like, I know it's going to go in the trash, but I don't want to take a hammer and just break it. It's one of those things where it's almost like I want to do some kind of ceremony with it.
Yeah. I mean, and if your dad comes and he asks about it, you're able to say, oh my word, I loved those. Thank you so much. But, now I don't have a place for them on my wall anymore. So I took the pictures out, so it's like, you're able to say, yeah, I love it. Are you thinking you need a ceremony for your journals too?
Maybe.
Like
Maybe
a
so.
burning ceremony or something, or
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote in my journals all the time. I wrote every thought that I had when I was a kid, younger.
yeah.
And some of them were really raw emotions, and it's hard to let go of those because I look at the journal, and each journal's different, and I look at the cover, and I can remember what I was going through when I was in that journal.
Yeah.
And it's not really like that I want to get rid of them, because it's just a matter of, it's probably necessary if something were to ever happen to me, which God forbid. They're just not something that I want anybody to look at. And so it's just one of those things where I have to let it go.
It sounds like, because,
Yeah.
there's different, okay, what space do you have to keep that, blah, blah, blah. But for you don't want anyone to read this under any circumstance. And so,
Yeah.
the only
Yeah.
way to guarantee that is to get rid of it now.
I've been putting it off for a long time, and it's almost like you have to almost get permission to do it, to say it's okay to let it go. And
it's absolutely okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for telling me that.
I'm just telling you what you want to hear, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, like it is. And sometimes I think more than the permission, you needed to say it out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Most people don't even know they exist.
right.
Thankfully.
Well, I'll tell you something. I found some things, and nothing like, whatever. I don't want people to be like, oh, I wonder what she found. But I did find some things, some letters that had been written when I cleaned out my mother-in-law's house, that I'm glad I'm the one who found them. And I just threw them away because I was like, nobody needs to read this. Nobody needs to read these. And they were, family relationships from years and years and years ago that blah, blah, blah. And I'd heard stories or whatever, but I'm like, these should not have been kept.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I'll say. But I'm giving you that, like, yes, there are things that nobody needs to read that needed to have been thrown away before. And yes, there's value in doing that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. My resolve is stronger now.
Okay.
So,
is there anything else you wanted to cover? You want to talk about?
Well, I had a question that I kind of swapped out for the one of the other ones, but my floors, I feel like that now that we have the dog, it's almost like I have to keep the floor clean. And so that's been motivating for me, and it's been happening a lot better, because it's like, if you don't keep the floor clean, he will eat whatever he finds. And he actually did eat something the first 2 weeks that we had him. We had to take him to the vet and he had to get surgery on his little tummy because he swallowed something, and we don't know what he just will find anything and everything. And today I found a little screw in his mouth. And I swear I vacuum and mop all the time. But the issue that I'm having is we don't have any place to store a mop and a bucket.
Okay.
But so I've been keeping it in the kitchen in a little corner, which is no big deal. Mm-hmm. But with him, he will have accidents on the floor. And that mop starts to stink.
Okay.
And so I'm wondering if there is like any suggestions about how to, any kind of, I don't know if you have any idea of like a certain kind of cleaner or something that will keep that mop from stinking after a couple of days, or do I just need to keep changing it out? Like I have to buy like several different
I
mop
mean,
heads.
for stuff like that, I mean, I totally get when you don't want to, when you want to have the reusable stuff, but like for puppy accidents and things, I think that might be a good time for you to be like, I'm going to have a Swiffer wet pads or something like that, because that I know that it's got pee on it now. I'm just going to throw that away. And
Yeah,
also knowing that it's a temporary time period, right? Like
right,
it's not
right.
we're working on potty training right now. This is our house training, whatever it's called with dogs. I forget, but, we're working on this for right now. So,
Yeah,
this isn't going to be forever. I will go back to using my regular kind of mop that I like, but I'm real big on anything that's bodily fluids. I want to be able to throw it in the trash.
that
So,
makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that. Yeah, bless his heart. He really does well,
Mhm.
but if we have to leave or whatever for a few hours, then there's a in his little pen, he will miss the pad
Yeah.
and it'll start to go leak around. We have tile floor, and so it starts to leak around the edges and get everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but because in a way though, he's helped me keep my floor clean
Yeah.
because I have to clean it. I have to keep it picked up because if I don't, he'll grab it and he'll eat it, and he can't eat everything.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's keeping me
Exactly.
more mindful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's pretty much all that I can think of.
Okay.
I listen to your podcast all the time, and most of what you've told me I've heard before. But it's kind of cool to be able to talk to you about it and to hear it again. You can't hear it enough, really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that does apply.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
like the 5 minute thing, I forget about it.
yeah.
5 minute
Yeah.
pickup.
Right. Yeah. So, what do you love about being a kindred spirit?
I really enjoy the fact, first of all, that everybody's kind to each other, because you see that every time I get on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, people will find the stupidest things to be mad about, and
Yep.
they just like to tear each other up. But that is not happening in Kindred Spirits group, and I think that's awesome. I love that. It's also really encouraging to be able to, whenever I just am having a rough time trying to get motivated, taking a few pictures and putting it on there. Just doing that helps to motivate me
Yeah.
and be able to share the picture afterwards. And then also the people that will speak back and encourage me. And then I like to encourage other people too. So
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's just
I
a
love it.
really good support group.
It really is. It's just such a lovely place. So,
Yeah. We
okay.
don't realize how much we need other people who understand us until we get into something like that, and it makes a difference. You're
It
not
does.
alone. You're not by yourself, because sometimes you don't want to share these kinds of things with people real well, because
Exactly.
you're kind of embarrassed by it or whatever.
Yeah.
Or somebody's going to have their 2 cents and they're going to put it in there, and be like, well, at my house I do it this way, and you need to do it that way, and I never let my floors look like that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. So it's so nice to be in a group where people understand. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm not the only one. I've heard that from people so many times that the number one thing that helped them finally be able to make the progress they wanted to make was realizing they weren't the only one. It's like,
right,
oh, okay, there's not just something wrong with me. No, this is, a lot of us have this struggle, and there are ways to actually,
exactly.
work through it.
I,
So,
I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally posted something on my wall, my
oh
Facebook
no,
wall, that I meant to put in the group,
oh
and
no,
I've gotten people responding back about their ideas and how they do it, and they're not mean about it, but totally different approach. And it's
Yeah.
almost like they're trying to teach you. That's one thing that I like also. You're not going in there to their people. You're not being taught by other people. Like everybody has their own ways of doing things, and they make suggestions, but they're not like making you feel like you're less than if you don't do it the same way they do.
Yes, exactly.
Which I don't like. I don't like that. I don't like to feel like I'm not smart because I don't do it the way somebody else does.
Exactly. Yep. You nailed it right there for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time.
Thank
My
you.
goodness.
Thank you for being patient with my son.
Oh goodness. No, you're good. You're good. All right. Wasn't that fun? I enjoy these conversations so much. If you would like to apply to do one of these sessions, if you want to just know more about being a kindred spirit, maybe you have no interest in being in one of these, but you do like the idea of the support of other people working on their homes using the same processes and language that we use here. Go to patreon.com/a-slob-comes-clean and learn more about becoming a patron of the show. All right. This has been so fun. I will talk to y'all next week. Bye.